Good afternoon, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I thought I'd continue with this whole description of creation. And you might wonder, why am I so interested in creation and destruction? And, in healthcare, and in fact, in life, we're all working through life and death. And of course, in my practice, I focus a lot on grief recovery. And in grief recovery, many people link that with the loss of a loved one, and usually related to death or fear of death. But if we think about it historically, man has always wondered about creation, and I feel like this is such an interesting concept for us to understand, so that we understand our lives and living, and what does this mean, and what are we creating, and what are we part of. And so today I thought, that I love to link the similarities between different religions and different philosophies and different thinking. And you might have heard this term of everything points to the same truth. So truth is one, but people get to it by different paths. And so today I thought this was so fantastic that I was remembering about how in the Bible we talk about creation, and you might have heard this particular line from Genesis. You might not know that it's from Genesis, but it's the King James Version of Genesis, and it says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." In the King James Version of John 1:1, it's translated as, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." This is interesting. So this, again, in the beginning was the Word, is what I'd like to focus on. In the beginning was the Word. Now, when I look at Vedic scripture, which I'm very drawn to, Vedic scripture thinks very similarly, which is interesting that, again, in terms of any deep thinkers, any philosophers, any gurus, it comes down to the same thing, coming at it from different angles. And if we look at even historically how long ago the Vedas were compiled and understood, and remembering that these are times that there was no actual writing, so things were shared by the word, right? So today I thought I'd talk about creation from the Vedic perspective. And in the Vedic perspective, you might know that everything is considered to be composed of both matter and spirit. Matter and spirit. And so every single thing. So of course we are then composed of matter and spirit. The earth is composed of matter and spirit. And when we look at this, people asked in old times, many centuries ago, of what created all of this? How did it all get created? As many people today even ask. And so rishis, which are kind of like enlightened masters, contemplated on these ideas for quite some time. And it was found that many rishis in different areas, in different ways of contemplation, came to the same findings. And a lot of these findings were written up in the Rig Veda. I'd like to explain this concept of creation. And so the first thing that is believed from these writings to be created was space. That space started everything. It was just space. And space has no beginning, no end. You know that the space in any particular room has no beginning or end. We think that the space in a room is composed or limited to the space of the walls that hold it in. But of course, the walls can hold in space. There's space within, and there's space outside of these walls too, right? So space continues. It has no beginning or end. And it is the most subtle energy. So this is the only quality that's carried in space is sound. And sound, just like the word, remember the word in the Bible. So sound is this first thing. It's the nature of space. So sound is known as the nature of space. And this then allows, they call it in Vedic scripture, grossification. So something that that is materializing. So something materialized from space, and from space materialized air. And air has no form because it comes from space, which had no form. So it actually maintains that sameness, that it has no form also, but it has movement. So here it has sound, which it actually gathers from what it came from. So what caused it, it holds on to sound, air, and it has movement. So it actually has a touch quality. So air's quality is touch. And this air moves in space, as we know. From air, they believe that fire was created. And fire has movement, just like air, but it moves upwards. It's upward, but it also has quality and form. The quality is light, and the form also includes heat. So light and heat, these are the qualities of fire. And then from fire, they talk about water being formed. And water goes down. Water has this going down, and it's got the quality of taste. Now, you know that water is tasteless, but put anything into water and you can taste it, right? So you can taste it because there's some liquid, the water, that carries taste. And this has both the sound that came from that initial space. It has touch, which came from air quality. So we know that water has a feeling of touch to it. And it also has a form. So water has a form. And we know that we've seen water in waterfalls, we see it in rivers, we see it in lakes, we see it in the oceans. So it has a form. And then from there came the earth. And the earth, again, contains all of the qualities of things that precede it. So it has the quality of remaining in water. We know that the earth remains in water. We know that our own body's form has mostly water in it. It has the quality of smell. So the earth, and you know that the earth has a smell to it, but earth allows the smell sense. So this, or it contains, it is the quality of smell. It also has, remember that we have water, which has this touch, and it has a form, and it's got taste to it. So you know that earth has taste to it, if you want to taste it. And then it's got some fire to it in terms of the quality of form. It's got a color to it. It's got a temperature to it, to the earth. And we look at air, and earth contains that air too. So it has that sense of movement. You know that the earth moves, right? And so we know that the earth is moving, right? So it contains that movement that comes from that air quality. And then finally it has space. So it is space. We know that there's space between earth molecules, right? So we know this. Now, all of these things, remember, are also formed by just, if we look at things from a scientific perspective, that molecules build on each other. So they actually grow on each other. So when we're thinking about this concept of grossification, it's one building onto another, onto another. So these molecules are joining and becoming creation. So this is the thought in the Vedic perspective. And this is interesting because when we look at all of this, then we think, okay, but what created that most subtle space? So what was it that preceded space? What was that? And we would know that if space is very subtle and it has no beginning or end, then the thing that caused it would also have no beginning or end, but it's something different than this subtle energy of space, which means that it's even more subtle than space, what preceded space. Now, it would also have no beginning, no end, because we know that what came from that space had something that was timeless. It is not measurable. It is beyond time and space. So that we know. And we would think that, oh yeah, so this is great for philosophical reasoning or thinking or maybe theology. But guess what? Science is catching up. And so today I wanted to make sure that you know that this information is starting to be put together by measurable tools and some understanding. Measurable, remember, only gets us so far because this space that we're thinking about in terms of pure beginning is not measurable and it's beyond time and space. But I did want to bring your attention to a great audio that I heard last time in one of my classes with a great group of ladies. And I will tell you that it's an audio version. It's actually, the title is called The Hidden Heart of the Cosmos, and it's by Brian Swimme, Swimme. And of course, I will write that at the bottom of this video today. But I want you to know that science, and whether we call it philosophy, whether we call it spirituality, whether we call it religion, is joining. It is coming to the same understanding, which is such a wonderful place. And again, you'd wonder, why would I be interested in this? And creation and destruction, life and death is a big part of what I encourage people to understand and to live through joyfully. So I wish you a fantastic day ahead, contemplating maybe these ideas and these thoughts, and just to see what arises. And I wish you a fantastic day. I'm looking forward to telling you a little bit more about the other end of the spectrum and about how these things break apart over time too. And that, you might think that's, oh no, that's so sad. No, it's actually a very beautiful awareness to have. So for today, I want you to know that beyond time and space is this space of awareness. This space of awareness is beyond time and space, and we all carry it. So I would like you to know that, and I wish you a fantastic day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Talk to you soon, everyone. Bye-bye.